Well, we're in Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland, and we decided to experience it in the best way we know how, with the help of some friends who live here. This is the land of castles, bagpipes, and arguably the finest collection of sheep parts you'll ever try, haggis. We've got about 3.5 days here to soak in everything this incredible city has to offer, and the itinerary, if you can call it that, is simple.
So here's the game plan. Day one, we are going to hit up some more touristy spots. One of my best friends lives here, has for a couple years. She's going to show us around and show us all of the cool sites she thinks that we should see as tourists, while also hitting some local spots as well. Day two, we're going to hike up Arthur's Seat and get some epic views of the city. And then on day three, we're going to try and find some maybe local delicacies and more things that make this place unique.
And of course, we'll share how much we spent and all that good stuff too. Welcome to Edinburgh.
Good morning, Scotland.
Good morning.
Today we are going to knock some of the touristy items off of our to-do list. We have a very wonderful and professional, knowledgeable tour guide to show us around. And yeah, I'm very excited. We have not seen any of the city because we got in late at night and then we've just been working. So I'm excited to see what this place is all about. Everyone, this is Justine, our tour guide for today.
Hello.
Justine, how long have you lived here?
2.5 years.
And you love it?
I love it. It's the best. It's the best.
Should people come visit?
Oh yeah, come here, hang out, live here. It's the greatest.
We hopped on a bus to get to the city center, which is hands down the most convenient way to get around Edinburgh. For £2 a ride, you can zip through the city rather quickly, and if you're planning a full day of exploring, a daily ticket is £5. Simple, affordable, and no parking headaches. This morning we're heading straight into the heart of the city. Justine has offered to show us around, starting with a visit to the iconic Edinburgh Castle. But first, you know we gotta start with a good breakfast, so Justine is taking us to her favorite spot called Snacks for some veggie haggis and tatty scones.
Best breakfast 2019, it's gotta be good.
I'm expecting greatness, and I just hope you know. I mean, this is my favorite. Wait. So that's the tatty scone. The tatty scone, that's your veggie haggis. Great. Ketchup if you want.
Oh yeah, can I have the ketchup, please? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like comfort?
Yeah. It's so good. Like warm. And like the tatty scones here are so good because they're like crispy enough. And they're not like, sometimes you can get like a soggy like tatty scone. We don't want no soggy scones in this house.
And we got 3 and it was £13.
I got the hash browns with mine, which might have been a little overkill with all the potatoes.
It's really good. Like you can eat this and not feel full. Nice little grab and go breakfast to start the day. Okay, grab breakfast. It was really good. Now we gotta make our way up to the castle because I think at 1 o'clock they let the cannons go off, so that should be really cool to see. And I hear bagpipes, so where's that coming from?
Leading up to the castle, you see all sorts of things. Of course, there's the pipers, but then there's the sort of more unusual hustlers.
So our first stop on this little touristy day we're having is Edinburgh Castle. This is the oldest fortified castle in Europe. It is recommended that you buy tickets in advance because it can sell out, and it's about £20 per ticket. Luckily, I know someone who has some hookups, so we got in for free with some staff passes. Grand highlight is the cannon that goes off at 1, which I'm very excited about. I think the views are supposed to be spectacular, and I've heard that you can tour some old prisons, which is right up my alley.
Edinburgh Castle is perched high on Castle Rock. You really can't miss it once you enter the city. And then there's the view. Stand at the edge, past the cannons that once defended this place, and look out for an amazing view of the city. Among the many names tied to Edinburgh Castle is Earl Haig. His statue is a lone figure on horseback watching over the city. The oldest part of the castle, St. Margaret's Chapel, is small, unassuming, and over 900 years old.
Bigger than York.
Eat that, America.
Also, next to the chapel is Mons Meg, one of the largest medieval cannons ever made.
Oh wow.
This is a massive cannon. These were the cannonballs, I think.
As far as prison museums go, this one was pretty interesting. Prisoners from the American Revolution were even kept here.
Whoa, I'm not gonna lie, they look kind of comfy.
Yeah.
How you doing? I can sleep all my friends in here.
Alright, true enough, lad, true enough. You have the list there.
So in a little while, they're going to fire this cannon. This is the 1 o'clock gun. Basically, it's fired every single day at 1 o'clock exactly, except for on Sundays. I think the placard over there said since 1861, they fired this gun to signal the boats out in the port of Leith. This is pretty cool, and I think it's going to be pretty loud, so might be in for a big bang.
They don't warn you or nothing. Oh my god.
He did this.
We need to explain why Justine is a great tour guide for us to have with us today, because it goes beyond just her being a resident of this fine city.
Also, can you tell people what you do for work?
Yeah. So I work for Historic Environment Scotland, which is the biggest kind of heritage institution in Scotland. So they work to do conservation and provide funding to maintain Scotland's historical sites. So like Edinburgh Castle, if you go up into the Highlands, you got Doon Castle, Midhope Castle, just lots of different sites that need continued maintenance so they can be around for a long time and people can keep visiting. So yeah, I work for them, and that kind of gives me a little bit of credit, I guess.
And you just got your master's?
I got my master's degree in history from the University of Edinburgh, so I know some things.
Credentials.
Yeah.
So this is the Witches' Well. It commemorates the people who were executed for witchcraft in the 1500s and 1600s. This is honestly something that I would have walked right by and never known was here, but it has a really great plaque kind of explaining what the significance of it is. Thanks to Justine for pointing this out, because I would have breezed on by.
Something else we probably would have missed, if not for Justine, is this marker. Most people probably walk right over it without a second thought because it's easy to beeline it to the castle. But right below your feet is a piece of Edinburgh's darker history.
Wild.
This small brass marker represents the spot where public executions once took place. It usually goes unnoticed, but a lot of Edinburgh's history is right below your feet. More on this later.
And it is so unnoticeable that people just kind of walk over it and don't even realize what this is. That's kind of insane.
Just about lunchtime, so Justine is taking us to
Chivs.
Chivs, and it is pizza. Is there anything special about it?
I personally, some of my favorite pizza in the city, which could be controversial because there's a lot of good pizza in Edinburgh, but it is like classic, right next to University of Edinburgh campus, so everybody's
Student
gotta
spot.
have big fat slice of pizza.
Nice. Iron Brew. I have no idea what you would think. It tastes like orange.
No, it tastes like bubblegum.
Yep, that is straight bubblegum.
Wow, it's like dentist fluoride. Yeah, it tastes like Hubba Bubba.
Yeah.
Got a couple of sodas and some pizza slices, which Justine assured me they were moderately sized.
So I got a vegan pizza, so it's got vegan mozzarella, aubergine, which is eggplant, sun-dried tomatoes, and some basil.
And although I shouldn't have, I got the mac and cheese balls too. I'm definitely eating with my eyes at this point.
Very thick cheese.
Our 3 jumbo slices, mac and cheese balls, and sodas were 39 pounds.
This is Bobby, a statue of Bobby. Bobby was a terrier who belonged to a night watchman for the Edinburgh Police. They were inseparable, and then Bobby's owner sadly died. And it was said that Bobby stayed on his owner's grave for the next 14 years that he lived without him and never left. And so they put up a little statue of him. The statue used to be in the kirkyard, and it was recently moved, but a big a big encouraged not is to touch Bobby's nose. Is a very popular thing to do, but as you can see, it's tarnished the sweet little terrier's nose, and locals really encourage you to not do that. So if you come visit Edinburgh, try to avoid that at all costs. Take your pictures next to him, he's cute, but leave his nose alone.
Yeah, I think somewhere in there the message got transferred that touching the nose meant good luck or something like that, but it's not. So stop. Don't do it.
It's cool to just have that first day to just walk around and then explore as much as you can without really having to do a whole lot, and then we'll come back and do a bunch of this stuff.
By the way, I don't know if we mentioned this, but we're here for Thanksgiving, so at this point, the Christmas markets are buzzing. We'll circle back to this. We took the tram back to our place instead of the bus this time, but it was the same £2 price per fare.
We had a little bit of a late start this morning, but we are here at Author's Seat. We're gonna climb up to the top. We're walking to the entrance and there's all the runners out and they're just booking it on this path. Part of me is wondering if it's a running club because there are a ton of people.
You'll know I've been brainwashed if I ever join a running club.
It's not motivating you?
Absolutely not.
Turns out there is a race today. Park run. What is it? Sunday? Saturday? Saturday. So it's Saturday morning and there's a nice little park run going on. Park run. It's also 55 degrees today, and we both went out and bought new clothes for this hike. Like warmer clothes, not expecting it to be this warm because the last 2 days have been kind of cold. Now I'm sweating.
I did download a Spotify playlist for us in case we need an extra, actually in case I need an extra boost of motivation, which will probably come out in the next 90 seconds. Just a mix of 80s road trip jams. Hopefully that'll put some pep in my step.
The hike so far isn't super challenging as far as elevation, but it's rocky and, as you can see, really muddy. I'm probably gonna bust my ass at least once or twice in this. That was not intentional.
This is one of those hikes where the second you start to feel too comfortable or confident, you're gonna eat ass and go sliding down this muddy hill. I think the phrase is bust ass, not eat ass.
Author's Seat is actually an extinct volcano. It almost feels out of place here.
Okay, I don't know if you can see those tiny specks of people that are up there somewhere, but that's where we're headed. Pretty close.
Some say it was once the site of Camelot, that King Arthur himself ruled from this very peak, though historians can't quite agree on that.
Yes, we got railings.
Then there's also the Celtic legend of sleeping dragons, that Author's Seat was once home to a massive beast that roamed the land until it laid down and rest and never woke up.
Very bright.
Bit bright.
That was a lot harder when I was 20 years old and massively hungover.
Yeah, I imagine so. We made it to the top. Not quite, just like
I
a
just
little
got
bit.
real big flashbacks.
Of what?
Like one of our first
I know,
videos.
as soon as I said
The
too.
same inflection. Well, we made it to Harper's
I think
Ferry.
Harper's Ferry, yeah.
This is why it's good to have partners who push you. He makes me go on hikes, I make him go to Shakespeare.
This is true.
These rocks beneath our feet are 350 million years old.
It's a bit windy at the top, but we kind of started down there somewhere. Made our way all the way around. Officially at the tippy top. All right, now let's get down because it's windy. Wore my shirt today and I didn't think I'd be able to show it off, but ignore the sweat. How long would you say it took us to get to the top?
Wow. We left at 10:54, and by the time we started walking back down, it was 11:04. Wait, no, that's wrong.
Yeah,
that would be like
that
10
would be
minutes.
like 10 minutes. We ran up.
Maybe 9:54. It was a 54 of
Okay.
some sort.
It's about an hour.
With stopping for videos and stuff.
With stopping for videos and tying shoes and wiping off mud. Difficulty level?
Not difficult.
And I'm not huffing and puffing at all, so.
Yeah. Hardly,
Yay, fitness.
Hardly any back sweat.
Oh, I got plenty of back sweat.
Okay. After a morning of a lot of walking and hiking, we are now very hungry. And you know we love both street food and a food hall, and I think we found the perfect combination of both. This is Edinburgh street food. I think there's a bunch of different vendors we can pick from and mix and match and hopefully get a food coma. So I think you just find kind of like, I thought I was wearing glasses and I went like that.
Tired.
So I think you just find anywhere to sit and then you can scan a QR code to order from any of these vendors. I'd like to put on the record, I did not want to go out to a restaurant dressed like this, but we are running out of time and we're very hungry. So that's why I look like a bum in public right now.
This food hall was packed. The inside is really funky though. So many different neon lights and food stalls. It almost felt more like a nightclub. But you probably want to know about the food. Well, I got a pizza from a place called Homie's.
Yeah. Classic.
Really good.
And Tony got some birria tacos from a spot called Antojitos.
Very good. Nice and cheesy.
The next morning we ate brunch at a place called Gaia and grabbed a couple of cheesy pastas to fuel us for the remainder of the day. Then it was back to explore the rest of the Royal Mile.
Crazy how much quieter it gets.
So
Just
much
like
quieter.
20 feet in.
We might have found the only quiet part in all of the touristy part of Old Town, Edinburgh. It's amazing how much quieter it is right
Being
here.
back in Italy, in Venice.
Yeah, obviously we're whispering because it's probably residential, but still. Cool little find. Little pocket. Good job, Sarah.
Never missed a detour.
Never miss a detour.
We were entering a time tunnel. That was Riddle's Court, one of Edinburgh's most historic houses.
We're about to do a Scottish whiskey experience, also called Scottish whiskey experience. This is supposed to be really cool though. I think Justine recommended it yesterday or the other day. And you go through and it's like this whole immersive experience and then you get some tastings at the end, which I am super excited for.
The blink of an eye. Welcome guys to the Scotch Whisky Experience. My name is Sai. I'm going to be your host for the duration of this tour. go.
The tour walks you through every single part of the whiskey making experience, from the chemistry to the history, right down to the malting, fermentation, and distillation. The whole thing was super immersive, even providing a scratch and sniff card to introduce us to the different scents of the regions where whiskey is made in Scotland.
Wow.
It's cool, right?
Yeah, it's so cool.
What flavour did you get on the aftertaste?
Tony's favorite library he's ever been in.
No, I was literally about to say that. Like, I haven't seen many collections, but this is probably my favorite collection.
Don't get any ideas.
I
We don't
am.
have a home.
Listen, I might become a whiskey connoisseur. Just saying.
It's fine.
This
Buy me a
has been
home
quite
so you
an
can put it in.
experience. If ever I become a snob about anything, it might be this. Because this is cool. There are over 3,000 bottles of whiskey in here, and it looks like it. Like, look at that. And this collection started as 6 bottles that were a gift, and they're all up here, the original 6 bottles, and now there's over 3,000. I think 3,400. Insane.
Before we start tasting our whiskey, let me break down how you're supposed to taste them. First, you identify the color and lightness. Then you swirl it around to see how it drips down the side of the glass. Next, you smell it, but you don't just smell it normally. You have to smell it with your mouth slightly open for the full flavor. This can feel a little goofy. And finally, you can taste the whiskey. Now I think I'm ready to be a whiskey expert. Maybe not.
In Scotland, whiskey isn't just a drink. It's history, geography, and a little bit of defiance distilled in a glass. On this tour, you get to try 5 different kinds, and it's the same whiskey flavors laid out on a scratch and sniff card that they gave you at the beginning of the tour. In Scotland, there's only one way to end a moment like this. Cheers. It's not just the sheer number of whiskey bottles here that make this place awesome, the collection is pretty unique too. There's all sorts of weirdly shaped whiskey bottles that are hidden behind these displays.
Felt like a very luxury experience for what we paid.
So we only paid, I think there's different tours you can do. We did the gold tour, which was about £38 per person, and it was well worth it.
I think it was worth it.
Yeah,
too.
you can do one for like £23 a person, but it's only going to give you like a sniffer. You got to do the experience. You got to get, with the gold tour, you get like 5 different tastings. So you got to do that one. That's the one that's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole experience is really cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, my favorite part was the collection, and then when you get to the tasting room, they have the like unique collection part, and they have the chessboard that they said an airline in the 70s started running. So if you flew first class with them, you get 2 pieces of the chessboard, and the original owner of the collection had the entire chess pieces. All right, so I think that's a tour that's well worth it. We have one more tour for the evening, which should be a little bit more gruesome.
Fast forwarding a bit of the day, we grabbed a quick bite, watched a silent disco tour have the time of their lives,
Silent disco. That's fun.
and when nightfall came, it was time for our tour through the Edinburgh Vaults.
Your tour isn't about the big and beautiful. Your tour's more tailored towards the horrible, the nasty, the ugly side of Edinburgh's history.
Remember earlier when we said there is so much history in the city that you just walk right over? Well, that's what our tour guide Jordan is pointing out now. All of this is to provide some context to a darker side of Edinburgh's history.
This heart shape on the ground, it's a lovely mosaic on the ground. It's called the Heart of Midlothian. Coincidentally, that's exactly where the door to the jail used to be, the entrance. It became quite common for locals to walk by the door, spit on it, to show they're against the torture, taxes, body parts. We don't like spit. However, when it was demolished and the door went away, suddenly all the locals said, "Hey, where are we going to spit now?" Is maybe what they said. I don't know. I wasn't there in the 1800s.
After the door was demolished, a mosaic went up in its place. To this very day, people still spit, only they spit on the mosaic now. Some say it brings good luck.
If you're caught swearing in public, very common to have you dragged by your tongue. Tongue is taken up the street, pressed onto that big wooden door, big hammer, big iron nail. Take the whole ear off. And that does sound worse.
So we're now making our way down to the vaults. Apparently all these buildings are like over top of it. So like we're gonna go back up the hill, just underneath everything. Very basic explanation.
The Edinburgh Vaults were a series of chambers that were used for about 30 years to house taverns, workshops, and they served as storage spaces for merchants. However, because of the damp conditions and air quality in the vaults, businesses left in 1820.
Screws, self-explanatory.
We are going all under these.
So from this point, they asked that everyone either not film or use flash. Instead, we took a couple photos, maybe hoping to catch a spirit in the dark.
That was sick. Definitely my favorite activity we've done in Edinburgh so far. I love spooky things. I love caves. I love underground vaults. I love haunted paranormal tours. Tony, not so much. This is where we differ a lot. A little bummed we couldn't film inside to show you more of it, but if you come to Edinburgh, I think this is a must do. Next time I would do the late night torture one.
Of course you would.
Biggest of shout outs to our tour guide Jordan. The tour was very informative and still had some humor and a little spooky. It's not like the most haunted spooky tour that you can do, but he still made sure to make it nice and spooky. Now we have 3 hours to kill. Oh, I think we're gonna go to a Christmas market because that's what, yeah. We're gonna go to a Christmas market because we have 3 hours to kill before our dinner reservation. Just missed it. Starts the day we leave.
We got snow underneath our feet.
Dare I say this feels more festive than London?
Yeah, but it's way more crowded though. Why do you feel it feels more festive?
It's just like more lights, more holiday cheer. It's not all like white millennial lights. There's like colors and
It is colorful.
We spent some time wandering around and we couldn't quite make it 5 minutes without being drawn to another stall. Luckily, we met some interesting and very friendly people.
I look handsome in that. I used to live in Yorkshire, and then I moved up to Scotland about 12 years ago. So
okay.
I've been here ever since.
Have you been able to go back to the I could drink a gallon of this.
What's in it?
I don't know. It's delicious.
Is it like more wine?
Better.
Wow.
Slightly unrelated to the content of this video, but I thought it'd be fun to share. I feel like Tony and I are naturally very introverted, and I feel like we're getting a lot better at small talk and talking to people, and maybe it's just because the people in the UK have been so friendly and welcoming and like very chatty and interested in what we're filming and what we're doing on our trips, but I think we're getting a lot better at not just sticking to our introverted shells.
Case in point, we met an awesome guy at Bucking Birch that gave Sara her drink. And he was from Zimbabwe, and he was just chatting us up, having a good time, and it was like easier for us to talk to people that live here and get their experiences of the place they live, and it makes for a more interesting time for us being here.
Yeah.
I will have just the classic.
Plain one.
Yeah.
All the flavours, and you pick the plain one, huh?
The plain one? Which one is your favorite? Which one is your favorite?
Raspberry white chocolate.
All right, we'll do that.
Chocolate sauce and cream.
Yes, yeah, do it. Do it up.
The best one on the market. Hi guys. Whoa. So I'm here for £5, pal. You get napkins and cutlery there.
Okay. We're like 5 minutes into this Christmas market, already making 2 stops.
We do have a dinner reservation.
We do have a dinner reservation.
Since this video is posting after the Christmas markets are gone, we won't spend a lot of time talking about them. Instead, let's get to that dinner reservation.
If everything I dreamt of was true.
Well, it's about time we have some traditional Scottish food. So we are splitting a Sunday roast, which I'm very excited about. If you remember our London British Sunday roast, it was delicious. But we also got some smaller plates. We're going to have our first official haggis of the trip, our first Scotch egg, which I have no idea what to expect there, and of course an extra Yorkshire pudding, because that is what I'm realizing is my favorite. And this is all happening at the Ox. That is an egg. That's way less scary than I thought it would.
Scotch egg is really good. If I had to describe it, I'd say it's like having stuffing loaded with gravy and then an egg in the middle with like mayonnaise for dipping sauce. It all comes together really well. I swear. It doesn't sound like it, but it's so good. So I realized the Scotch egg isn't Scottish. I actually wanted to try it when we were in London, but we never really got a chance to do it. And they have a really good one here, so we're gonna try it here. We're also getting haggis, but it's gonna be a little bit different than the traditional style of haggis because they have it in balls. My first haggis, and it's in miniature form. A little bit of HP sauce. Let's see how this goes. It's good. I like it. Also, the Ox is in a really big place, so we had to reserve our dinner ahead of time. We got the 8:30 slot. I was trying to get 7 o'clock, but as soon as I went to like book it, it was already gone. So if you want to come here, definitely book at least a couple hours in advance, because it's actually a lot bigger than I thought it'd be, but like the seats fill up really quickly. It's a pretty popular spot.
Now the main course, the roast. We got a half roast for $2, which was surprisingly cheap. It came with potatoes, carrots, sliced beef roast, and of course, Yorkshire pudding. Everything was delicious, and in the end, our bill was £57 for what felt like a 5-star experience.
Just wrapped up dinner at the Ox. What was your favorite part of the dinner?
I like the Scottish egg a lot.
Yeah. I am going to say I was the fan of the haggis.
Yeah, that was good too.
And then, like you said, the gravy was like, makes everything better. That gravy was really good.
All the gravy we've had in the UK has been really good.
Yeah. But I feel like we've been saying every place tonight has been something we highly recommend. But we've been 3 for 3. All these experiences we've had today have been really good. It's been a great day. Time for bed. Actually, not for me, because I got football to watch.
Time for bed for me.
Yeah. We don't have a lot planned today, but we wanted to get to all the spots we couldn't get to the other day, like this street, which is Victoria Street, famously also known as Diagon Alley.
Diagon Alley.
From Harry Potter. Now, I know there might be some confusion in that, because in our Christmas video, we said that market was also where they filmed Diagon Alley for the Leaky Cauldron, but this is completely different because this is the inspiration for the books. A lot of the buildings are all bright and colorful, and at the end, there's a Harry Potter shop where you can kind of look around, but I think there's a queue for it. This street is no less busier than it was the other night, but we're still gonna walk around. Also, Sarah's feeling a little bit under the weather, so you'll see my mug for most of the day. She'll be behind the camera.
Too much partying.
You can also walk up this stairwell, and it leads to like this overpass where you can kind of look down. It looks really cool at night because the lights are all bright, and then you get the buildings and all the people walking by.
We really didn't have a plan for walking around Victoria Street. We kind of just wanted to wander around and stop in any shop that we liked. And we found a few that we were quite interested in.
I want this shirt. Bought that shirt for £26. Was it expensive? Yes. Was it worth it? Absolutely.
We also made a brief stop into the Harry Potter shop. Pretty gimmicky, but I think it was still pretty cool. The other times we walked by, there were about a 15-minute queue to get into the store. But there were only a couple people in line when we walked by, so we figured, what the heck. And the shop was surprisingly more detailed than I thought it would be.
We did our mandatory stop in the Harry Potter souvenir shop and museum. So in keeping in theme with what today is turning out to be a Harry Potter day, there's also a graveyard nearby that has the inspiration for a lot of names in the books, including the Potters, Tom Riddle, and I think Professor McGonagall. So we're gonna see if we can find them.
We ended up finding a few, I think, including the inspiration for Professor McGonagall's name and the one everyone comes to see, Tom Riddle.
We have one more stop in the evening. We're going to this pub called Boundary Bar, and it's a really unique place. How it was explained to me is that the boroughs of Edinburgh and Leith used to be pretty independent, and so this bar is right on the city lines. So on one side you have Leith, the other side you have Edinburgh. So when people used to come here and drink, back in the day, Edinburgh had pretty strict drinking laws where you had to stop drinking at 9:30. So you can go to this bar, drink till 9:30, and then just cross over to the other side and continue drinking. I think it's pretty cool history here. But the other reason why I want to stop in here is because we've been in Edinburgh for about a week now and I haven't had tenants. So this is where I'm going to try my first tenants and see how it goes. They've told me this is like the working class beer, so it's not for everyone.
Inside we met Gus, the manager at the bar, and he happily shared his opinion on what he thinks about tenants.
Can I have a pint of tenants? Yeah. So this is going to be my first tenants. What do you think of it?
That's what.
Yeah.
Fucking hate this stuff.
Everyone was like, you got to try it at least once. All right, so everyone I've talked to is not a fan of this beer, including Gus, who is the manager of this place. I told him I wanted this because everyone said I had to try it, and he was like, ugh. That's fine. Yeah.
I went up there to order my own drink, and he said I would rather pay £7 for a Guinness, or what did he say? If I had to choose between paying £7 for a Guinness and drinking tenants for free, I would pay £7 for a Guinness.
Now, I should mention, if you hear someone slandering tenants, it's probably because they've reached the bottom of the glass. That's the real test. Tenant starts off crisp and easy, but then as it settles and as the temperature shifts and the carbonation fades, that last inch of the glass becomes interesting. Some call it the worst part, others see it as a rite of passage. Either way, if you're finishing a pint of Tenants, you're committing to the full experience. Good, bad, and everything in between. I don't hate it, but the flavor does change a little bit as it sits over time. Probably go back to a Guinness. Okay, yeah. The last little bit of this definitely tastes a lot different. I don't know how to describe it. Like a little bit medical, almost. Medical. I didn't hate it.
No?
No, I didn't hate it. I definitely wouldn't drink that all night, though. Yeah. So I'm gonna switch back to Guinness. Do a pint of Guinness. So remember that line I was talking about? The one that divided Boundary Bar? Well, it's still here. Now, I have no idea if this is the original line or if someone decided to add it later on for novelty, but it doesn't matter. If you ever find yourself here, take a sip, step over the line, and toast to the art of getting away with just a little bit more than you're supposed to. Like any great city, Edinburgh doesn't beg to be understood. It just is. And if you're lucky, if you slow down and pay attention, you might just get a glimpse of it. Our detour in the UK has been a wild ride, a lot of high notes and a few low. But travel isn't all about perfection, right? It's about the unexpected, the in-between moments, the things you only notice when you're actually there. That's why we do this. It's kind of like taking a little part of every place we visit with us. And with our final video in the UK series, England, Scotland, it's been real. Something tells me this isn't goodbye, rather just see you later.